Bonjour, bonjour, welcome to this new lesson. Today we're going to talk about faire expressions. This is a huge topic. This is one of my biggest lessons, one of my favorite as well, for several reasons. For those of you who don't know anything at all about faire expressions, faire is the verb to do or to make, okay? It's got both meanings, to do or to make, and that's why all the French people you'll meet oftentimes will not know whether to use the verb to do or to make in English, because for us it's the same thing. We don't see the difference, we can't tell the difference. So this is a huge topic, not only because you know that in English you use the verb to do or to make a lot for many expressions. We usually use the verb faire, which is the infinitive for to do and to make. But on top of that, we have so many faire expressions in French that we use every day. It's unbelievable. So if you're taking French at school, you probably have a list in your book. And usually what I would say about the list that you have in your books is that about half of them are useful. I'm not always a fan of the other verbs that they give you. Sometimes they give you faire expressions that you'll probably never use in your lives, that we barely ever use usually in general in French. And yet there's so many faire expressions that we use almost every day that are useful and that I think the authors of books really never thought of, or they even didn't really take the time. I think that too many authors rush into writing books and they don't take the time to think about everything that students should know. I think they usually expect you to learn everything in immersion, so that's it. I don't want to waste any more time. I'm going to give you a pretty complete list today, and let's get going. So as I said, faire, as you can see here, is the infinitive of the verbs to do or to make. And let's see if we can find the conjugations. Oh, there you go. Conjugation of the verb faire. That's an irregular verb. You're going to have to memorize it the old-fashioned way. So what I encourage you to do is watch this webinar again and again until you memorize. Do the old exercises that I'll give you access to. Do all the written exercises. It'll help you memorize all these expressions and the conjugations. That way you'll be able to speak French, get an A, whatever you need to do with French. Okay? Here's the conjugation. Pay attention to pronunciation. Je fais, tu fais, il fait, elle fait. Of course, I didn't write it here, but it's on fait for we do or we're doing, we make or we're making. Il fait, on fait. Nous faisons. Pay attention to the very irregular pronunciation of that AI. Usually AI is E, and here it's E. Nous faisons, just like an E without an accent. Nous faisons. Very irregular vous. We have three verbs in French that don't end with easy in the present tense on the vous form. That's one of them. Vous faites, just like une fête, a party. Vous faites, we don't hear the es. Ils font and elles font. Let me say that again without talking in between. Je fais, tu fais, il fait, elle fait, on fait, of course. Nous faisons, vous faites, ils font, elles font. Okay? Remember, as always, I'd like to emphasize that this is how we read all these. Of course, the nous will almost never use it. We will say on fait instead. And je fais, as always, the je is the one that's always butchered by the French when they speak fast. So we'll drop the E and we end up saying je fais. Okay, we try to combine the J and the F together and it turns into je fais. The French will always say je fais. Je fais du ski. Je fais à manger. I'm cooking. Je fais du tennis. Je fais de l'escalade, whatever. D'accord? So you can say je fais, it's okay, but the French don't expect them to say je fais, they will most likely say je fais. Keep that in mind, very important. Ensuite, here are a few faire expressions where you would use them in English with the verb to make. So for instance, to make one's bed would be faire son lit. So I make my bed, or I'm making my bed would be je fais mon lit. Je fais mon lit, or if I said fast, I say je fais mon lit. She's making a cake would be elle fait un gâteau. Elle fait un gâteau. I make promises. Je fais des promesses. Je fais des promesses. They're making some noise. They're making noise. Ils font du bruit. Remember, we don't say the L. So ils font du bruit. Bruit is noise. They're making peace. Ils font la paix. Ils font la paix. P-A-I-X. P-A-I-X. Remember, we put an X on some French words just to remind people that it used to be a Latin language. That's the only reason why. And so that it would look really cool and ancient and all. We're making plans with the on because that's what we really use rather than nous, okay? On fait des projets. On fait des projets. So et is et, and we don't say the s. I'm making tea. je fais du thé, je fais du thé, or je fais du thé, je fais du thé. I'm making a sandcastle, je fais un château de sable. If I say it faster, je fais un château de sable. It's not, I didn't mean to make a tongue twister, it just turned out to be that way. Je fais un château de sable. If I say it slowly, if I read it slowly, I'll make the liaison between the S and the vowel here. But otherwise, if I say it fast, I will say je fais un château de sable. So you barely hear a slight D apostrophe attached to the château. Je fais un château de sable. You'll notice we have an accent circumflex on this A, which means there used to be an S after the A in Old French, which makes it closer to castle. Ooh. Let's move on. To do expressions, okay, we have to do one's homework. That would be faire ses devoirs. So I'm doing my homework. Je fais mes devoirs. Je fais mes devoirs. If I say it faster, it would be je fais mes devoirs. Someone who says devoir fast will skip the E and say je fais mes devoirs. Okay, je fais mes devoirs. I'm doing my job is je fais mon travail or je fais mon travail. Mom does the housework. Housework, remember, is le ménage, masculin. Le ménage. Maman fait le ménage. Mom's doing the housework. Dad does the grocery shopping. Papa fait les courses. Papa fait les courses. Do you do the dishes? Tu fais la vaisselle? Tu fais la vaisselle? La vaisselle is the term for the dishes. I forgot to list one more expression. Very interesting. Even though this lesson includes, as you can see, 65 slides, so that's 500,000, I don't know, many fair expressions. But we say to race is to do the race, and that sounds so close to do the grocery shopping. It's faire la course. Okay, faire la course, that's to race. So you would say, ils font la course. That's not they're doing the grocery shopping, that's they're racing. D'accord. Ils font la course. Ils font la course. Ils font la course, they're racing. Ils font la course. D'accord? Ensuite, now here are a few fait expressions that would be different in English. Okay, you're going to use a different verb in English. So let me tell you something very interesting about those fait expressions. We have 500,000 in French. Some are very standard. All of those that I'm going to give you, we use them all the time. That being said, sometimes there are some fait expressions for which we would have a different verb. And so using a fait expression impoverishes the language, even though in spoken French it's completely standard. When a kid takes French at school, and we all do, teachers tell them if you write an essay, avoid the fait expressions as much as you can because it impoverishes the language. It's a little cheap, okay? So if there's something else that you can use besides faire, do it, okay? So I'll tell you when it happens. That being said, to go for a walk or for a ride, if it's a walk, a ride, anything like that, it's a general term in French, which is faire un tour. Faire un tour. I'm going for a walk, je fais un tour. We're going for a walk, on va faire un tour. On fait un tour, okay? To pout or to sulk is faire la tête. Faire la tête. You have to know in slang, we use the slang expressions faire la tronche. Okay, very important. Faire la tronche. Okay, faire la tête. Faire la tête, I wrote the translation to pout or to sulk. That's pretty true. Faire la tête, to make a face, really, you're not happy. So faire la tête. Je fais la tête, I'm like that. Je fais la tête, I'm not happy. Okay, I'm mad. In slang, we use the slang expressions more than the standard French, really. So you'll hear people say faire la tronche or faire la gueule. Gueule is the technical word we use for the face, the mouth of an animal originally, but we use it in slang for face in French. You might know ta gueule for shut up, okay? We use both, la tronche or la gueule for faire la tronche, faire la gueule, meaning faire la tête, okay? And that's slang, but used a whole lot. So you need to know it if you want to be able to understand French. So je fais la tête, I'm mad. Je fais la gueule or je fais la tronche, I'm pissed off. Okay, je fais la tronche, je fais la gueule. Okay. Faire du vélo is to ride one's bike. Je fais du vélo, I'm riding my bike. To practice a sport is faire du sport. It's also the verb to exercise. Tu fais du sport, you exercise. Okay. To windsurf is faire de la planche à voile. Let me add the accent here. Faire de la planche à voile. Je fais de la planche à voile. I would swallow that E here if I spoke fast. I would say je fais de la planche à voile. Faire une promenade, to take a walk, to go for a stroll. Faire une promenade, je fais une promenade. We don't use it a whole lot, I have to say. I think I like the faire un tour better. To run errands is the same as to do the groceries, to do some shopping. Faire des courses is to run errands, really. Faire des courses, so faire la course, to race. Very close. It depends on the article you use, really. Faire des courses, to run errands, to do the grocery shopping. To go boating, faire du bateau. To do some mischief, or to get into mischief, faire des bêtises. We use it a lot. Keep in mind we use the slang word, faire des conneries, to do some bad shit, really. Faire des conneries. Faire des conneries. Very important, you'll use that all the time. People will say, it's got several meanings. People will say, il dit des conneries, he's talking shit, or that's BS, okay? Faire des conneries, to do something bad, to do some bad shit, really. Faire des conneries, okay? To ski, faire du ski. We can say skier, okay? We do have the verb skier as well. Ensuite, to go hiking, faire de la randonnée. And people will shorten it to faire de la rando. On fait une rando. We're going on a hike. We're going hiking. On fait une rando. On fait de la rando. To go sailing, faire de la voile. The sail of a boat is une voile, feminine, d'accord? Faire de la voile. Je fais de la voile. Je fais de la voile. I'm going sailing. To party is to do the party. Faire la fête. Faire la fête. On fait la fête. We're partying. Ooh. To wait in line. Faire la queue is to do the queue, okay? Je fais la queue. I'm waiting in line. On fait la queue. We're waiting in line. To be careful or to pay attention is faire attention. You say to someone, fais attention is be careful. Je fais attention. I'm being careful. D'accord? To sleep in is faire la grasse matinée, and we often shorten it to faire la grasse mat. We stop on the T. Sounds better. Sounds really cool. So, demain, je fais la grasse mat. Tomorrow, I'm sleeping in. D'accord? To go horseback riding. Faire du cheval. Again, if I say it faster, I'll drop the E here and say, je fais du cheval. Okay? I'm going horseback riding. To go camping. Faire du camping, je fais du camping. Okay, this is the kind of general terms that you have in schools. Okay, all those are the terms that you would have to learn at school. Okay, I'll add mine in the next slide. To go jogging, faire du jogging, je fais du jogging. To cook, faire à manger. Usually in books they will tell you cuisiner or faire la cuisine, and they won't mention that one, which to me is the most important one, the one you need to know because that's the one that we use the most for to cook, faire à manger. Oftentimes we use à manger as if it's a noun. Like food. Vous avez à manger? You have food? You have something to eat? Okay? That's a very important one to keep in mind. That's real French, the one we use. Faire à manger. Qui fait à manger à la maison? Who cooks at home? C'est moi. Moi. Je fais à manger à la maison. I cook at home. Okay, for example, ils font la queue. They're waiting in line. Ils font la queue. If I say it faster again, I'll drop the L. Ils font la queue. Okay? Je fais la tête, or je fais la tête. Il croise les bras. He's crossing his arms. That's the verb croiser, to cross. ER verb. Il croise les bras. Remember in slang, we like to use the words la gueule and la tronche. So, je fais la tête. I'm mad. I'm pouting like that. I'm sulking. Je fais la gueule or je fais la tronche. That's slang. That's probably used more than la tête. Okay. You use that with a kid. You use that with adults. Okay. Elle fait la gueule, elle fait la tronche, she's pissed off or she's mad. Okay. Like, real quick. Also, you talk about someone, you say, c'est une tronche. He's a head. That means, he's a big head. That means he's really smart. C'est une tronche. He's really smart. Okay. This is slang, but keep it in mind because the French use it a lot. C'est une tronche means he's really smart. Okay. C'est une tronche. C'est une tronche en maths. C'est une tronche en informatique. He's really smart with computers. Okay, he really knows computers well. Okay, good word to know. Elle fait à manger. She's cooking. Elle fait à manger. Remuer pendant 1 heure. Stir for an hour. Remember to do something for a period of time. For would be pendant. Remuer pendant 1 heure. Stir for an hour. I'm partying. Je fais la fête. Okay? I'm doing the party in French. Je fais la fête. Je fais la fête. You'll hear young people or people who want to pretend they're young who will use the slang word la teuf. I don't think I've mentioned that until now, but we have a very specific sort of slang in French, which is called verlan. Okay. And what people do with verlan is they take words and they turn them, they flip the syllables. Okay. So la teuf is really la fête. Or let's change the sound a little bit. But so la teuf is la fête, very popular word. I hate that language, by the way. Let me tell you this again. I hate that language, but it's a fact. Okay, it's a linguistic fact. So if you want to be able to understand people, you have to know. I'll never use it. I don't advise you use it. But you know, if you want to understand, here it is. Okay, because if you stick to what's in the book, you'll never be able to understand people. Okay, that's why I'm saying all this. All that slang I gave you, I'm not saying please use it. I don't. But if you want to understand people, you need to know it. La musique est trop forte. The music is too loud. La musique est trop forte. Ok? Je fais la fête. I'm partying. Ensuite, do you sleep in? Tu fais la grasse matinée. Tu fais la grasse matinée. Remember the origin of the word gras is fat. Okay? Gras, feminine, grasse. Fat. Fatty food would be la nourriture grasse. Okay? So, tu fais la grasse matinée. Do you sleep in? Tu fais la grasse matinée. Again, I would skip the né if I spoke faster. C'est tu fais la grasse mat. Okay? Do you ride your bikes or are you riding your bikes? Vous faites du vélo? Vous faites du vélo? Du vélo? Je crois que j'ai un pneu crevé. Let me say this again. It's good vocab. I think that, always in French, I think that. Je crois que, which we combine together. We drop the E, we try to combine the J and the C together, and it turns into je crois. Je crois que j'ai un pneu crevé. Crevé is flat, it's also dead. Dead in the sense of flat. Oh, I'm dead, I'm beat. I'm flat, really. Je crois que j'ai un pneu crevé. Je crois que j'ai un pneu crevé. I have a flat tire. Un pneu crevé, a flat tire. D'accord? They're windsurfing. Ils font de la planche à voile. Ils font de la planche à voile. If I said faster, I'll drop the L and say ils font de la, I'll drop the E, ils font de la planche à voile. Il y a du vent, it's windy. That's how you say it's windy. If someone, a book says something different, like il fait venteux, it's ugly. Okay, don't say that. Il y a du vent. That's what people will say. Remember, il y a is there is. Il y a, there is. Just learn it like that. There is or there are. And the French will drop the il altogether. Okay, if you've gone over that before, keep that in mind. Don't expect the French to ever say il y a. They will barely, hardly ever will. Okay, they will say y a du vent. It's windy. There's wind. Do you go horseback riding? Tu fais du cheval or tu fais du cheval. Remember, I told you we drop that e. That means we're going to have a ch and a v together. So tu fais du cheval. La selle n'est pas confortable. La selle n'est pas confortable. The saddle is not comfortable. She winks or she's winking. Elle fait un clin d'œil. Un clin d'œil is a wink. Elle fait un clin d'œil. She blinks or she's blinking her eyes. Elle cligne des yeux. Elle cligne des yeux. Like this. Elle cligne des yeux. Je cligne des yeux. Okay? He's falling on purpose. Oh, I love this one. If you could understand, it'd be great. Otherwise, we'll go back over it later. It's so super useful. On purpose is exprès. So he's falling on purpose. He's doing on purpose to fall. Il fait exprès de tomber. Quelle chute. What a fall. It's interesting. The noun for a fall is completely different from the verb. The verb is tomber, but the noun is une chute. A fallen angel is un ange déchu. Un ange déchu. A fallen angel. Il fait exprès de tomber. He's falling on purpose. He's doing on purpose to fall. That's how we put it together when you say you do something on purpose. For instance, you could say, elle fait exprès de pleurer. She's doing on purpose to cry. She's crying on purpose. Elle fait exprès de pleurer. He tripped me Il m'a fait un croche-patte. Il m'a fait un croche-patte. That's the past tense. Don't worry about it too much. But that's the verb to trip someone is to do a croche-patte, a hook paw. Okay, something like that. Il m'a fait un croche-patte. Ça, c'est malin. Well, that's smart. We'll go back over this one later because it's in past tense. They're turning around. When you're driving somewhere, you're walking somewhere, you say, oh, let's turn around, go back home. You say faire demi-tour. Ils font demi-tour. Ils font demi-tour. They're turning around. The truck is blocking the road. Le camion, that's the truck, like in Spanish. Le camion bloque la route. Le camion bloque la route. She's driving in reverse. She's going backwards. She's going in reverse. Elle fait marche arrière. Elle fait marche arrière. Okay, reverse on your gear shift is marche arrière in French. Look at your rearview mirror. Regarde ton rétroviseur. Regarde ton rétroviseur. And I put that in parentheses because in French we really say regarde ton rétro. We shorten it. Regarde ton rétro. D'accord. To trust someone, very interesting. I love this verb. It's to do trust at someone. Je fais confiance à Corinne. Je fais confiance à Corinne. I do confidence in Corinne or at Corinne. Je fais confiance à Corinne. If I say it faster, I will say je fais confiance à Corinne. D'accord? She's trustworthy. Elle est digne de confiance. Worthy is digne. Elle est digne de confiance. D'accord? Je fais confiance à Stan, je fais confiance à Fred, etc. Je fais confiance à mes parents. She's signaling the kids to come. Elle fait signe de venir aux enfants. You'll see how interesting it is that we have the to come at the end. We put it right after the verb to signal to do something. She's signaling to come to the kids, hence the O, A-U-X, plus masculine plural. Aux enfants. Elle est autoritaire, she's bossy. Elle est autoritaire. Ensuite, to turn somersaults. We say faire des galipettes, which is like a general term for little spins, rolling on oneself for kids. Ils font des galipettes. Ils font des galipettes. Ils sont souples. Souple is the term for flexible. Ils sont souples. I'm making faces. Je fais des grimaces. Again, if I say it faster, je fais des grimaces. I'm making faces. Je fais des grimaces. That's really ugly. C'est vraiment moche. Remember, the dictionary will tell you that it's laid, L-A-I-D, but it sounds like such a nice word that we don't really use it. We use moche instead, which is colloquial. C'est vraiment moche. Okay, that's what people use 80% of the time rather than laid, at least 80% of the time. She's getting into mischief, or she's doing some mischief. Elle fait des bêtises. Elle fait des bêtises. Elle fait des bêtises, okay? Remember, in slang, we're going to say elle fait des conneries. But that wouldn't apply to a little girl. No one would say, I mean, if you talk to an adult, yes. But talking to a child, you never say that. You would say des bêtises. Adults like to use the slang word des conneries, okay? It's just toilet paper. C'est juste du papier toilette. C'est juste du papier toilette. Remember, I'm in the bathroom would be je suis aux toilettes. Je suis aux toilettes. D'accord? Je suis aux toilettes. Remember, in slang, people will say je suis aux chiottes, and they will not say it like this with the liaison and all. It'll go faster, and they'll say je suis aux chiottes. I'm in the crapper. Okay? Je suis aux chiottes. D'accord? Ensuite, faire n'importe quoi. This is super important faire expression. We use it absolutely every day. And it's tricky to translate, very tricky to translate, not that easy. And I don't know if that's the reason why they don't ever mention it in books. And people always assume that n'importe quoi means anything. If you look it up in a dictionary, it's true, but not in that sense. Usually, you know, like he's messing with the bottle. He might break it. He's doing something that's nonsensical, or he's doing something bad. Il fait n'importe quoi. This is not slang, though, okay? This is completely standard French. That's why I don't want to use a bad word to translate it, but he's doing something bad. Okay, what he's doing is bad. Okay, il fait n'importe quoi. I use the word nonsensical. It's pretty close to the meaning of n'importe quoi. Okay, You know, usually the teachers check on the kids' work at school and say, oh, ça c'est n'importe quoi, recommence. This is terrible, start over. Okay, n'importe quoi. In a conversation, it can mean BS or garbage. Okay, someone says, oh, Natalie said that she likes John. C'est n'importe quoi, that's such BS, I never said that. C'est n'importe quoi. Okay, super useful. You'll hear it all the time in French. Il fait des pompes. Lower is plus bas, okay, plus bas. More low, plus bas. Bas is low, we don't say the S. Okay, basse is the feminine, like low tide would be marée basse. D'accord? La marée basse is low tide. Okay, il fait des pompes. Okay, this is one of the most important, useful fait expressions that you won't find in your books. To pretend is to do pretend. Okay? Il fait semblant d'écouter. He's pretending to listen. He's doing pretend to listen. Il fait semblant d'écouter. Speak up is parle plus fort. Speak more loudly. Speak up. Parle plus fort. Plus fort is louder. Okay? Il fait semblant d'écouter. Il fait semblant de pleurer. He's pretending to cry. Il fait semblant de regarder. He's pretending to look. Il fait semblant d'écrire. He's pretending to write. D'accord? He's pretending to sleep. Il fait semblant de dormir. Il fait semblant de dormir. If I say it faster, I'll say I, not even the L. Il fait semblant de dormir. I'll pronounce it like a D apostrophe, so it's going to sound like a long D. Il fait semblant de dormir. Il a les yeux ouverts. His eyes are open. Remember we say he has the eyes open. Il a les yeux ouverts. Okay? He startles Mary, or he's startling Mary. Il fait sursauter Marie. He's making Marie startle. In French. Strange, but yeah. Il fait sursauter Marie. He's startling Marie. D'accord? She's dumbstruck, dumbfounded. Elle est bouche bée. Elle est bouche bée. Bouche bée. D'accord? He's peeing. One of the most important fait expressions, I think. You know, how do you say, oh, I need to pee? Or he's peeing. Il fait pipi. Il fait pipi. He's doing pipi. Okay? Pas très pratique, not very convenient. He doesn't seem to care. Now, to poop is faire caca. Another fair expression, I know. We're on a roll here, okay. I don't like dog poop. Je n'aime pas le caca de chien. Le caca de chien, we're going to contract the E and just hear D apostrophe and say je n'aime pas or j'aime pas le caca de chien. So I'm dropping the ne, dropping the E, dropping the E, dropping the E. J'aime pas le caca de chien. J'aime pas le caca de chien. Someone has to set an example. Quelqu'un doit montrer l'exemple. Quelqu'un doit montrer l'exemple. D'accord? Il fait caca. Oh, je fais caca. I'm pooping. Okay, qu'est-ce que c'est là? To teeth is a fair expression. We say to do one's teeth. Il fait ses dents. He's teething. Il fait ses dents. Il fait ses dents. Okay? He's biting a paintbrush. Il mord un pinceau. Un pinceau is a paintbrush. Mordre is the verb to bite. Il mord, we don't say the D, il mord un pinceau. He's biting a paintbrush. Oh, this is a super useful one. The verb faire like this can be used in the sense of to look a certain age. So she looks 40 years old. Elle fait 40 ans. She does 40 years old. Elle fait 40 ans. She looks 18. Elle fait 18 ans. He looks 90. Il fait 90 ans. She looks younger. Elle fait plus jeune. She looks more young. Elle fait plus jeune. She looks 35. Elle en fait 35. You think she's 40? No. But she looks 35 though. Elle en fait 35. She's taking a break. To take a break is faire une pause. To do a pause. To do a break. Elle fait une pause. Elle fait une pause. She's taking a coffee break. Elle fait une pause café. Elle fait une pause café. To fast forward, yes, it is a fait expression. We might not use it anymore, but I think we still do. Even if you fast forward on Netflix or those things, even if they disappear in 20 years, you still know what I'm talking about. To fast forward is to do fast forward. Je fais avance-rapide. I fast forward. I'm fast forwarding. Je fais avance-rapide. If I say it faster, I'll say je fais avance-rapide. D'accord? I hit pause, j'appuie sur pause. When you hit a button on a keyboard, on a phone, it's appuyer. J'appuie, like to push. J'appuie sur pause, I hit pause. J'appuie sur pause. To rewind is faire retour rapide. Je fais retour rapide. So c'est rewind, faire retour rapide. Je fais retour rapide. I hit the remote control button. J'appuie sur le bouton de la télécommande. The remote control is la télécommande. Telecommand. J'appuie sur le bouton de la télécommande. If I say it faster, j'appuie sur le bouton de la télécommande. As usual, de la turns into de la. D'accord? Elle fait ses lacets. She's tying her shoes. She's tying her shoes. She's doing her laces. Ses lacets sont défaits. Her shoes are untied. D'accord? Ses lacets sont défaits. Elle fait ses lacets. He's nodding. Il fait signe que oui. Il fait signe que oui. Il est bien quoi. So we don't really have a verb there. I know it's interesting because in English you say to nod. And in French we say he's doing a signal that yes. It's pretty descriptive, okay? His hair is neatly combed. Il est bien coiffé. Coiffé is combed, brushed for hair. Coiffed. Il est bien coiffé. They're hitchhiking. Elles font de l'autostop. Elles font de l'autostop. Elles font de l'autostop. Ce sont des autostoppeuses. Un autostoppeur masculin, un autostoppeur, une autostoppeuse. Ce sont des autostoppeuses. D'accord? He's rock climbing. Il fait de l'escalade. He's doing some rock climbing. Il fait de l'escalade. He's almost upside down. Il est presque à l'envers. À l'envers is upside down. Il est presque à l'envers. Il est presque à l'envers. Jean is blackmailing Magali. Yeah, to blackmail someone is a fair expression. To blackmail someone, I love this one. In French, we say to make someone sing. Go figure why, but that's just the way it is. You have to accept it. So, Jean fait chanter Magali. Jean is blackmailing Magali. C'est du chantage. You can put it that way and use a noun and say that's blackmailing. Don't do that. C'est du chantage. Okay, du chantage. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed. If you want more, please subscribe to this channel. If you have a comment or question, leave it below the description. I'd be happy to answer. I love languages, so I love talking about languages. So all your comments, questions will be more than welcome. Don't forget, go to www.languagecity.com. We have more fait expressions in French. This is only half of the list, really. So go to our website, get the full course, and you'll get access to everything. Plenty of very interesting fait expressions. And I'll see you soon for another lesson. Salut!